Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston subdivision in HO scale. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for episode 8 of season 2021. This episode features building the staging yards under the stairs and the planning that goes into putting this all together. Under the stairs is the most complicated and precise area that I need to take care of, and so definitely is the place to start. Once I get that done, then hopefully the rest of the layout will be pretty free-flowing, but I have to be pretty precise to get all the curves right and all the measurements right and the track installed right to have it snake under the stairs and then into the next room for the start of the Evanston subdivision main line. Now I haven't really been able to start yet on the layout too much because of our needing to build this deck. Actually, we've had lots of things that we've been doing on the house, just general things, moving into a new house, but this has been the main thing. I've been spending the last few weeks working on this deck. That's my wife walking on the deck, and she only allows me to videotape her feet. But anyway, the deck is pretty much done. I got all the decking in. It is a composite deck. Still need to put the steps in and the railings. So that will hopefully go in pretty soon. A couple commercials first before we get going into the staging yard. I am selling all my N-scale stuff, so make sure you check out my website for purchasing things from the old Geneva subdivision. You can see all the buildings and vehicles and locomotives. I am going to be adding structures, I think, this week. Check out the link on the description, and you can go to the website and see what you want to pick up from the old layout. So make sure you take some time to do that. The engine house will be hopefully listed this week sometime, along with a bunch of other structures. I want to get the signals on here pretty quick if I can, but a lot of the locomotives are gone, a lot of the rolling stock, but I still got tons left. A few locomotives, but still lots of rolling stock, and I haven't even started with the structures yet. So make sure you check out the website and see what you want to pick up. And then also, I've been buying HO stuff, and I just wanted to show something here. This is modeltrainstuff.com. Slough containers from Athearn. The cost is $31.49. I was looking to pick up some of these. I'm putting together a double stack train. Here's the exact same thing at Lombard Hobbies, $26.99. So $5 difference for the Athearn containers. Here's the Walthers 40-foot well cars on modeltrainstuff.com, $99.99. And at Lombard Hobbies, it's $89.99. That's been my experience so far. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And we're going to move right on to doing the staging yard. And here you see what we're going to be focusing on, making the staging yard go under the stairs and then into the next room. Again, this is going to have to be pretty precise to get it through the hole correctly and everything. And then we'll kind of be more free-flowing from there. I used the NMRA Curved Track Center and Obstacle Clearance Assistant to kind of figure out what curves I could do and not have the trains hit each other from one track to the next track. Standard track should be about 2 inches apart, which is 15 feet. Here's what I came up with using the assistance for track 1 through 12. All the different radiuses. It starts out at about 2.5 inches for the smaller radius, 2 1/3 for a couple of the middle radiuses, and 2 1/4 for the bigger radiuses. That's according to the NMRA assistant. But I would just want to make sure that when they go through the curves that the trains from one track to the other don't hit each other on the curves. Now, standard Class 1 mainline double track is 15 feet apart, which is 2.06 inches in HO scale. And when I drew up the plans, I put everything at 2 inches. But as I'm now trying to draw them out, I want to make sure that I don't run into having them be too close to each other, especially concerned about the auto racks. So as you can see, I have my cheat sheet here, and I'm looking at what I came up with, and I'm marking all the different radiuses. I had to add a piece of wood onto the bench work there, onto the plywood for the center of the radii. And as you can see, I marked them all off and made sure I had all 12. And then I rated my wife's craft box, please don't tell her, for a piece of string. It's actually some type of ribbon, but I picked it out because it's not very flexible. As I cut this, you'll see it kind of spring back. But as you pull it, it has a certain length that it'll stretch to, and then it won't stretch any further, which is what you want to draw a consistent radius. So I have one end tied to a screw that I put into the wood there for the center of the radii, and then I'm going to draw all of them on the plywood. Now you can see I did paint the plywood white. I thought I would go ahead and paint it first before I did anything else. That way my markings will show up, and then they'll just won't have to worry about painting it after the track is all down. And since this is just a staging yard, I'm just going to leave it white. I'm not going to worry about it being prototypical looking. Everything is just there to hold the trains until it's their turn to run on the main line. So here you see I'm doing the first radius at 53 3/4 inches, I believe it was. I generally don't like to work on the floor, especially being almost 65 here in a couple of weeks. It's not easy for me to work on my knees. I do have some pads, but just getting up and down. But I wanted to draw all this out first before I start cutting all the plywood. So here I am on my hands and knees drawing out all the radius. Now, as I was drawing these, I think I have to go back and check, but I think track 9 is a little bit off a little bit. Looks like some of those tracks aren't where they're supposed to be. I'll have to double check. As you can see, I have the string wrapped around the marker, which works out really well. You just have to make sure that as you go through the curve, you don't have the string wrap more around the marker. So you have to kind of turn the marker as you go, make sure that the marker is always facing the center at the same point. All right, so I have all 12 radii drawn. And my biggest concern again was the auto racks. They have the biggest overhang, and so I am putting a couple of them on here. These are a couple of scale trains, multi-max cars. I don't have any track down obviously, but I'm just kind of trying to put the trucks on the center line. And then I'm going to kind of see what kind of clearance I have between the cars. Now, to really get this center correctly, unfortunately I have to get all the way down. As you can see, I'm not moving very nimbly, but I have to get all the way down so I can see the trucks and the center line, make sure that they are where they're supposed to be. Now I have to check the other ones. Make sure that they're on the center. And then I once again get up nimbly and check out the clearance. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of room here. This is on the 28.5 and the 31-inch radii. There's like a ½ inch in there. So what that means is that I probably could have a separation of only maybe closer to 2, maybe 2 1/4 for all of them, and not have the extra separation for the smaller radius. So it's kind of nice to have the extra room between the tracks, but my concern is what's going to be the performance of the auto racks going around that curve. Will they tip over? So if you're an HO, you have to let me know. Here's the framing that I did. Then once I had the lines drawn in, I cut the plywood according to the curvature, did some simple framing. I'm not a master carpenter, but I am able to do well enough to make sure it doesn't warp or anything. I don't generally do a lot with the cross bracing there for the legs, but I did this time because this piece of bench work is going to have to slide into the space there under the stairs. So it's going to just, once I get the track in on this section, then I'll slide it there under the stairs and put it into position. But then I'm also going to want to be able to, at some point in time, be able to slide it out if for some reason some work needs to be done on the furnace or it needs to be replaced or something like that. I can have a way of sliding it out. Now here's the next piece that will continue the staging yard. It will go right here, and then it'll continue to the other throat of the staging yard. And so again, this is going to slide into that space there and then go into that hole that is cut into the wall, and then we'll go into the let's see, it would be the west throat of the staging yard. Have to clean out that mess a little bit, but that's where it's going to go. Felt really good to actually have some bench work complete. I'm getting so excited about actually having track down and having some trains running. It's going to be a lot of fun working with HO. So those of you who have experience in HO, I would like your feedback. Will 28.5-inch radius work for HO scale auto rack cars? That staging track is about 30 feet long, could be up to like 26 auto racks. If I ran that on a 28.5-inch radius curve, will the auto racks tip over, or will they track through there like they're supposed to? So let me know. I can push them out a little bit so that we will have maybe up to 31 inches. So let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will start doing more videos more regularly now that I'm actually working on it. I'm retired, have all the time in the world, so I'm going to be after this pretty steady. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.